Welcome to Planet People, a podcast that aims to inspire curiosity and cultivate a deeper connection with the natural world.
We are thrilled to be sharing stories with you that highlight the beauty and importance of protecting our planet's wildlife.
Be sure to follow us on social media and your favorite podcast streaming platform so that you never miss an episode. Happy New Year's, Planet People! I did not expect you to pull that out.
I hope Zoom got that.
That's hilarious. For you
I'll
guys
just record
tuning
it on
in,
my own.
for you guys tuning in virtually, Coral just, I don't even know what that was, like a paper.
A kazoo.
Oh, a kazoo.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Planet People. And while we record this, it's actually not the new year. It's still 2025, December 17th to be exact. But when you listen to this, it'll be the new year, which is crazy to think about. That's less than 2 weeks away.
Actually, I think it'll be December 30th.
Oh, right before New Year's.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are having a safe and fun holiday season. And actually, no, it'll be New Year's Eve. Exactly.
Oh.
It'll be Happy New Year's Eve, everyone.
Perfect. I love that.
This is perfect. This is perfect because I thought it would be fun to do a little drinking game for Planet People. And so please drink responsibly if you're listening to this, and hopefully you're not driving in the car listening to
Oh
it.
my God.
But we say, I obviously I edit the podcast and I'm constantly like, how many times can Natalie and I say the exact same thing? So
One too many times.
If you listen to our episodes and you hear us say a few of these phrases, please proceed to drink. For me, I think I say we talk about this a lot in our episode. That phrase I say like in all of our intros. We talk about this a lot in our episode. We talk about this a lot.
That's hilarious. I think I have fluff words. Like in the beginning of the season, certain episodes I would say incredible or beautiful or well said or great question. You know, just things that don't hold a lot of weight. So drink to that. And just reflecting back on, we're more than halfway through season 2. I think we've gotten better about being repetitive on certain things. So
yeah, we also say, this is a good thing to repeat, but you don't have to be a scientist to be a planet person.
That's like our tagline, though.
Yeah. What are some other ones that we repeat a lot?
I talk a lot about social ecology, and I wonder if that just gets old. Just social ecological systems.
Oh, drink if you hear us say Jane Goodall.
That too. And make sure it's whiskey.
Yeah. Cheers to Jane. Have a glass of whiskey in her honor.
That was her favorite drink. Just some whiskey over, actually not even over ice, just whiskey with a splash of water. She would call it her secret apple juice. And I actually am glad you brought up Jane because, of course, we have to mention her as part of, the roughness of this year in 2025 was losing an icon. And tonight, actually on January 1st, it'll be 4 months without Jane because she passed on October 1st. So definitely pour one out for Jane. Think about her as you really move forward in your next year as a planet person and like what ways you can embody being Jane.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, you said it. 2025 was a rough year. I think
I had a great year, but I know the world did not.
Yeah. No, it was a bit rough out there, especially in conservation. So we did want to just say a huge congratulations and put a little hopeful message about the Chuckwalla National Monument that we featured for our first guest of season 2 with Cactus to Cloud. That was a huge accomplishment in conservation this year, a huge win, something to look at, to model after. And I do think that's a hopeful thing that happened in conservation this year.
Absolutely. And if you're listening in and you didn't listened to our first episode about the Chuckwalla National Monument, it was a huge designation by President Biden right before he left office in January of this year to set aside, I don't know the exact acreage, but a huge swath of desert land south of Joshua Tree National Park. If you're going in through the southeastern entrance, which is where you'll see like the big cactus garden and everything, Chuckwalla National Monument is now a corridor to help connect basically the Mojave Desert Conservation Corridor, ranging from California through Arizona to Utah. And so the reason why it's so important is because this land protection supports the goal of our 30 by 30 initiative in the state of California to reduce or to save 30% of lands by 2030. And so why do we care about the 30 by 30? It's because it's a climate initiative. And this is a hopeful movement and in the direction of climate positivity, because if we can protect more land, then we can actively fight really climate change because these protected lands act as a carbon sink to soak up fossil fuels from the atmosphere. So the desert is literally going to preserve our atmosphere, our lands, our animals by being a natural fighter to climate change. And that's why it's such a big deal that Biden set aside this monument. And it's a huge win in the conservation history of California, especially in the desert, which is constantly overlooked. As I'm sure you all know now by listening to season 2. If you haven't listened too much, be sure to check out that first episode with Cindy. And then Colin also comes on later, her husband, who shares a lot about Cactus Cloud and his love of reptiles and all the things. So, anyways, I'm going on and on about this, but it's a huge deal that really Cactus Cloud pushed this national monument coming into fruition. So, congrats to Chuckwalla.
Yay. Yeah. And it did not happen overnight. So that I think that can be the takeaway, like the anxiety into action piece for this episode. That did not happen overnight. They put a lot of work and a lot of years to get there. And so I think when we're seeing these, not so hopeful stories, especially with the administration today, everything happening with Alaska, just all of these different bills that keep popping up. Just know that these things don't happen overnight. So if you care about a piece of land, if you care about an animal, a species, whatever, take those action steps and get connected with people that also care and that are taking those steps to protect those pieces of land, animals, whatever. So yeah, I think just a takeaway is it doesn't happen overnight and you got to work for it. And it's the new year. So hopefully everyone's feeling refreshed and ready to fight for conservation this year.
Yes, I love that. Very well said. And it's so important to remember that conservation is the long game. It's like an endurance thing. You just have to keep going. And it's not really about, of course, there's the end goals like 30 by 30, but right now in these next 4 years, at least, or 3 more, thank God, only 3 left with this current administration, it really is kind of the long game. So just remember that and don't become apathetic. That's something that Jane Goodall talked a lot about, is the worst thing that we can do is become apathetic because when we feel apathy, we fall out of action and kind of get depressive about it. And that's what the government wants you to feel. So
Yeah, it's true.
be a rebellious person by acting in the name of conservation and joy. Like spending time in nature is a joyful thing. And maybe that's a New Year's resolution or something that if you're listening in, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm a planet person, but what else can I do to connect with nature? I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do, whether it's on a sustainable level at home or spending time outside and listening to the birds and identifying plants and things around you. Then it's a step in the right direction towards not being apathetic because you remember what you're fighting for.
I think that's a great point to note. Like that is kind of the goal is to breed this apathy. And I think a little bit of rebellious nature is to stay in your empathy and stay in your feelings. And something that I do personally for myself, if I'm feeling that sense of apathy, I like to unplug. And, I think just taking the time to recognize, oh, I am feeling apathetic and just noting that doesn't mean that that's like your new personality trait, right? Like that's just like an observation. Like we're getting like hit with all this bad news all the time. And so what are you going to do? Like survivally, your survival mechanism is going to be apathy because it's too much, you know? So if you feel that, like unplug a little bit, do step outside, do what you need to do to refill your cup and then come back and don't be afraid to like feel those rough feelings, you know? It's, I think, beautiful to cry when you're seeing these bad news stories. I mean, there's this week specifically, there's been so many, but I think that there's a lot of strength in feeling sad, and it's okay to let yourself feel sad, um, and recognizing that that's just a part of being human.
Absolutely. And it's being aware of those feelings and not letting yourself fall too far forward into apathy because I loved what you said about empathy is the opposite of that. And that's a rebellious act, is to remain empathetic in a time where things are draining sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, to spin it on a more positive note, we do have a lot coming up this year, a lot planned this year that we're really excited to share with you. We're deep in the middle of our season 2 with desert conservation in Southern California. And we have something fun that will be debuting next week is we're going to start a book club.
Planet People Book Club. This is the hard launch of Planet People Book Club. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, we had a lot of authors just kind of randomly reach out to us all at once. And so we thought, what better way to showcase these people than to start a book club? And if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, we'll always post the author that we're featuring for the month. And you'll have to stay tuned for next week of who we're going to feature. But it's exciting. And I'm actually, right after this call, going to a book signing with him. So I'm excited.
I know, I'm so excited. I wish I was in LA with you. I'm gonna have to live vicariously through you. I should have just come up today. But I know you and Hugh are slammed this week, so I didn't want to crash, but
You can always crash.
thanks, hon.
Well, we're happy to feature a bunch of authors on the podcast that are showing their conservation spirit in their own way by using their talents, which is something we preach, obviously. So take a drink. 'Cause you don't have to be a scientist to be a planet person.
Nice punchline.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. What else do we have to look forward to? I actually, if you are tuning in from San Diego, or if you want to visit San Diego, January 4th, we will be hosting this news just dropped today, Coral. That's why I haven't mentioned it to you, but a skateboarding event. So if you want to do a little bird watching and skateboarding, come join us January 4th at 4 p.m. I'll list the details in the show notes, but that's kind of something fun to look forward to that just fell into place today with the San Diego Bird Alliance. And if you're familiar with them, they were previously the San Diego Audubon Society, so they're a very reputable group to do bird watching with. So that'll be fun. There's a lot that I want to do with Planet People in person next year, and I feel like the book club is going to be a really good like community builder and starting point for that.
Yeah, I love that. We definitely have some in-person events up our sleeves that we want. So be on the lookout for that on our social media, on our podcast. We'll definitely shout it out whenever they happen. And we would love to meet you guys in person. Yeah, see some cool wildlife along the way.
I would love to meet a Planet person IRL. I know you guys are out there, and if you're actually tuning in from California, then maybe we'll get to meet one day, hopefully for an event that we'll host maybe near a city, a desert city near you, perhaps, if you're in Southern California.
Yeah.
In addition to being really deep in the middle of season 2, more than halfway through. We're also planning for season 3, which is really exciting. We'll be covering basically the other regions of California that don't include the desert and the coast. So kind of that middle coastline in Southern California. It's the chaparral habitat. And when you go further up the coast, you get into the redwoods and the sequoias, or really further up in Northern California. And so I'm really excited for all the stories that we'll feature to cover that environment. We're talking to people about cougars and condors and some really big megafauna that are truly iconic to California. Whereas, some of the desert species and reptiles maybe were a little bit more foreign to you. Some of these species we'll speak about in season 3. You've probably heard of cougars before and condors, maybe not. A lot of people don't know about condors. I won't put that out there because if you're listening, you very well may know what a condor is. But a good introduction to that is learning about vultures. So that's something that we actually talked about today. Coral and I were on a call with someone who's a vulture fanatic. So get ready for some more cool stuff in season 3. That's all I have to say.
A lot of awesome things to look forward to. And the best thing about this podcast and what I say all the time, I don't know if I've said it to our listeners, so this might not be something to drink to, but it is something to cheers to, is this is Planet People podcast, so we have the whole planet to go.
Period.
We're starting in California, which is great, but we got a long road ahead of us to
We do.
highlight amazing stories across the entire planet of people caring for the planet, its wildlife, and the
It's
health
people.
of, yeah.
And it's people. They're all related. I love that. We are, you know, covering the whole planet, which is crazy to think about. But I
Yep.
love that we're starting in California because there's just a lot of really, really good conservation work happening in this state. I mean, that's why I moved out here, is to pursue working in conservation. And it's because we're so lucky to live around so many great animals that we could coexist with condors and cougars and tortoises and all of these things. So we're really excited to bring more of those wildlife stories to you in season 3 and beyond.
Yay. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy holidays. I hope it's been a wonderful time and cheers to 2026.
Happy New Year's, Plan people. Thanks for tuning in. Nice kazoo, Coral. Very festive.
Chicken just freaked out. And if you
Oh
don't know,
no.
Chicken is my cat.
Pepper didn't freak out?
Pepper's in the other room.
Oh, that's
Chicken
funny.
just looked at me like, what the fuck?
Excuse me, I'm the most spirited person of the house and everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. No, seriously, Coral and I are both very spirited, and I love that about our friendship. And when I look back on this year, I think about all of the spirit that's gone into this. And we didn't actually mention that we got the Spirit of Conservation Award. Or we mentioned that
Oh,
in the last episode, didn't we? For the
we
Christmas
mentioned that,
report?
I think, in our Thanksgiving episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's a huge reflection point for us before we really drop off the call and go. Thank you so much for tuning in and for making the spirit possible as a listener. And we officially got recognized by Respect
By
or
the
the
Wildlife
Wildlife
Protection.
Protection Alliance. Yeah, thank you. And it was so nice to be recognized as that. And a little backdrop on me and Coral, if you're still tuning in, Coral and I were both most spirited superlative in high school. And so, you know, that spirit has stayed with us for the podcast. And I love that we were recognized for that. And so thanks for being a part of the spirit. And thank you, Coral, for being the best co-host.
Aw, thank you, Natalie. It's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure and all of the things.
All
So,
the things. It's been a
and I
great
do
time.
want to say something that I love about you. And I tried to say it, I think, in that Thanksgiving episode, and the words just couldn't come to me because I was brain fried. But I love your endless, what am I trying to say? Endless. There's a phrasing that I had for it.
Endless enthusiasm.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Thanks for completing the compliment that
Endless
I've tried to give
enthusiasm.
you for months now.
Thanks.
I love your endless enthusiasm for wildlife, for the planet, and for the mission.
Thank you. Right back at you. I mean, you believe in this just as much as I do, and I love your skill sets and your take on things and what you bring to the table is invaluable.
Oh, love you.
Love you too. Love all you planet people. Thanks for being here.
Happy New Year's Eve and stay safe out there.
Yeah, stay safe, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Planet People. We are thrilled to have you as part of our community of wildlifers who care about protecting the planet for future generations to enjoy.
We hope that by listening, you feel inspired to connect with nature and become a steward of the planet by getting involved and taking action with your local community conservation organizations. Until next time, stay positive, planet people.
This episode was produced by Natalie Jean Sybil, Coral Carson, and Hugh Carr. Directed and edited by Coral Carson. Theme song by Hugh Carr under the artist name Flama. Thank you, team.